Hey guys, Mike with D2D Millionaire here. And do you ever hear the objection or get the concern of your products being too expensive? Well, if you do, one reason why that might be happening is that you're not framing your price correctly. So today's video, I want to go through a couple tips of how to frame your price to increase sales while marketing door to door. One thing to really keep in mind is that people just don't necessarily understand the value of your products and services, and that's why they think that it's too expensive. So one way to combat this is, how are you framing the price of your products? One way that you can change how your products are being framed is you can talk about the length of the contract or the length of terms of service that your products and services are with that potential customer. Most of you out there, your products are great, your services are great, your customers get a great value from them, and most of your customers, once they start on your products and services, they usually keep it long term, if not forever. But if you talk about it in those terms, that you're going to be on, contract forever, or you're going to be part of our service agreement package, for long term, many years, that can kind of scare people away sometimes. They think of, oh, well, this is just a new expense that I have to pay for every single month now. And again, they don't necessarily understand the value that goes behind it. So one way to frame it effectively is going to be whittling down basically how long their contract or terms of service, their service agreement is going to be. So what does that mean? Well, you could say something like, well, most of our customers really stay with us long term, but today we'll start you off on our starter package so you can really try us out, understand the value that we provide, get a handle on how good our service is, and then we can definitely change things down the road from there and get you on one of our longer packages if it makes sense to you. So again, you're framing that your 1 or 2 year contract, whatever it is that you're promoting at that time, is more your starter package. It's more your trial version where they have time to feel you out. They have time to use your services, see if they like it or not. And then at that point, when it's done, they can evaluate whether they want to continue using you or not. Now again, this does a couple things where most people don't necessarily like to be committed to things long term or locked into a lifetime contract or anything like that. And a lot of people like to just dip their toes in the water and try things out. They naturally have that mentality. So when you frame your services or frame your contracts as a trial period or your starter package or your basic package, it sounds like, hey, this is the smallest one you can do. You can try it out, see if you like it. If you do, keep working with us. If not, go and find something else. Where again, you're taking out some of that commitment mindset for them, and they're like, oh, well, I just get to try it out. That's great. So that's one way you can frame your products. Another thing to understand about framing your products is how frequently are your customers going to be using your products. So for example, you might be marketing pest control, and if someone's going to be buying pest control over the counter, there's other videos we've done that talks about a lot of why that's not necessarily a good idea, but one of them is that their products don't necessarily last as long and there's not as much of a residual to them. Where if you have a pest control company, your products are going to be of higher quality, they're going to last longer. So you could talk about, naturally, if you were to buy treatments over the counter, they might not work as well, but also they don't really have much of a residual effect, where you could put a treatment out, but you're going to be treating here again in a few days or a week from now. Whereas if you do business with us, we're going to come out maybe monthly, maybe quarterly, depending on what kind of service and treatments you need. So instead of having to pay for yourself to do it yourself and doing this every single week, every few days, costing yourself time and more money, just hire us and we're going to come out, be it monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly, to treat for these various services. So again, instead of paying for it every single week, you're only going to be paying for us to come out quarterly. So that's one way you can kind of whittle down the frequency to show that, it may cost more right now, but for how often we're coming out, it's going to be a lot less than you trying to do it yourself, and you're going to get a lot better results. So that's one way where you can frame the price to make more sales. Another thing to understand in how you can frame your price is along the lines of what are they comparing it being too expensive to. Where a lot of times people, again, maybe you're in pest control or maybe you're in security sales, for example, people maybe say, oh, that's too expensive. Let's say, for example, you're in security sales. You could say something along the lines, hey, I understand where you're coming from. It may seem like a lot with our various packages that we have, but compare that to how much it would cost if you had a break-in. So yeah, you might not be paying for a security service that whole time, but could it be tens of thousands of dollars that somebody steals? The peace of mind that is really priceless that you had up until that point is gone. Where again, how much is that going to cost for that one-time incident versus spending on our service every few months to have that peace of mind, to know that your family's safe, and to know that your valuable assets aren't going anywhere. How much would that be worth to you? Instead of getting that break-in and spending all that money and that headache and that hassle and that pain and suffering, it'd be worth it, wouldn't it, to just have that monthly service with us, right? So again, you're framing it as that one-time incident is going to cost way more in headaches and hassles and pain and cost than, again, doing that one-time service. Same thing with pest control. So instead of having to pay if once there's an infestation, once there's an outbreak, that's going to cost a lot more. It's going to take more time to get rid of. It's going to be more expensive versus maybe just having a quarterly maintenance program where there isn't any pest issues at that point. It keeps the pests away, it keeps them in check, keeps everything under control. Yeah, maybe it's quote unquote expensive, as they say, but compared to what? Compared to the thousands of dollars you might have to spend if you do have an infestation, if you do have a huge major issue, that the headaches, the hassle, the time that's going to cost you. Again, you compare it to that frustration, that one-time cost spread out over your maintenance program, which can prevent that whole thing from happening. So that's another great way that you can frame the price, where if they're saying it's too expensive, compared to what. So again, hopefully you guys got some benefit and value out of this video on how to frame your price properly to increase sales. If you did, feel free to comment and share. And if you are in door-to-door sales, be sure to head on over to d2dmillionaire.com and enter your name and email for access to our free podcast on how to avoid the 5 most common mistakes sales reps make in door-to-door sales. So if you're struggling, maybe not making the money you want, or maybe you just want this year to be your best year yet, be sure to head on over to d2dmillionaire.com and enter your information for access to that free podcast training on how to avoid the 5 most common mistakes sales reps make in door-to-door sales. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll talk to you more soon.